What's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to go over the Duelist Cup, which was announced last week as a event for Master Duel, competitive event, which is quite cool. It looks like it's going to be quite similar to the Casey Cup, which is ran on Duel Links. So yeah, I thought I'd do a video explaining what good deck choices to make, how the format's going to shape up, what's required of you to take place, participate and progress throughout the stages. So yeah, this video should go on for a couple of minutes, but it should be filled with loads of information to help you progress through the tournament. And if you want to see me play in the first stage tomorrow, 9th of August, when it drops UK time, check me out on Twitch. I think my link should be in the description below. Drop me a follow and you can see me playing, follow along, see what decks I'm playing and what decks I'm playing against, all that good stuff. So without further ado, the reason why you're here, Duelist Cup. So it's going to be over a month or so, I believe. We haven't got a announcement on one of the last stages, but so far we know it's 2 stages. The first stage is a couple of days worth of playing, so you'll get duel levels based on your ranking for last season. I think the highest you can achieve is duel level 10, which we'll go over in a second. So yeah, as you can see, first stage is 9th of August to 22nd. So you'll be playing other players to max out your duel level, which says here. So all you need to do here is just get to duel level 20, and then that will then give you the permission to play in a second stage, which is a weekend event. Unfortunately for us European players, we won't get to play it unless we multitask like crazy, because the European Championship is the same weekend, and I'm awfully gutted because I really wanted to play this. Yeah, but typical Konami doing the clashing events. But yeah, it is what it is. You get rewards for playing and stuff, so I thought I might as well play the first stage and see how it goes. So that is how the structure of the tournament works. Again, listed here are your duel levels based on your ranking for last season. I've been trying to keep up with the game as much as I can, so eventually something like this would be dropping. I wouldn't fall too far behind in terms of my card pool. So luckily I've been playing quite a bit, so I'm not too far behind. So that is the first structure, and if you've been out the loop on quite a while, we're almost, I think we're like a set or 2 behind TCG. But at the time of recording this, this is the tier list breakdown of what decks are viable or being played. So we'll start off tier 3. So these are decks that are kind of rogue, but are represented. So we have Adventure, the Phantom Knight deck, the Tangy Synchro deck, or the Tangy Adventurer deck. We have Eldritch, Floowandereeze, and Dragon Link. So I'm going to do my own list of decks that I think are best to play, but these are the decks that are on the Master Duel Meta, which is a website really good for resources on Master Duel. And yeah, so we've got tier 2 here, which are decks that aren't the best decks, but represented enough and strong enough to win events and do well. That is Virtual World and Sword Soul Tangy, which is the pure Sword Soul deck. I think, yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't have any disagreements with that. And then obviously the tier 1 deck at the moment is Prank Kids, which we'll get onto in a second. However, this probably won't change. This will change. Sorry, this probably won't stay the same, because we get a set drop in the same time as the Duelist Cup is coming live. Sorry, so we have the Invincible Raid, which contains cards from Battle of Chaos. However, there's one big card on here that I cannot see, and that is Illusion of Chaos, which is Dark Magician support. However, it is a searchable way to get Magician Souls to your hands. The reason why that's really important is because Adventurer cards plus Magician Souls pair together very well. So that would mean the Adventurer decks in general get a massive power boost for the Duelist Cup, which we'll get onto in a second. I'll tell you guys what decks I think will have a boost, but I cannot see Illusion of Chaos in this sort of sneak peek release. But if they're going to do it as if they do in TCG for Battle of Chaos, Illusion of Chaos will be in the set from what I've seen and what going off previous selection packs, etc. We also get one really powerful card, Guardian Chimera. However, Despia isn't coming out until after the Duelist Cup, so we haven't got to worry about that deck. But this could have a slight impact on the previous tier list, depending on whether we get Illusion of Chaos or not. I think we will. So I'm going to say in my deck choices of my tier lists, I think we'll put into perspective that Illusion of Chaos is indeed in these decks. So without further ado, start off with top 5 decks that I think are going to be good for this tournament, and 5 is Flundery. So this deck should also get the Advent, which is a searchable way to add another Flundery to your hand. It also dodges impermanences, effect vigilers. It's basically a quick play spell card for Flunderies that banishes another Flunder to search one from deck. So the banish is for cost, so it dodges hand traps. Also, it allows you to add more consistency to the deck. So I think the card should be in this selection pack. So again, let's presume that it is Battle of Chaos. We get that searchable spell. This deck gets significantly more consistent, so I think it's a really good pick. Also, Maxi is legal, and of course, this deck plays around it like it's absolutely nothing. Plus, it is actually a very good deck, in my opinion. I think it can play insane cards like Dimension Shifter, hand traps. It can play Maxi itself, and of course, Vanity's Emptiness with Prosperity as well. So, for a best of 1 format, I think this deck is really good. I wouldn't bank on playing it like every other round, but it could be represented enough to where you'd have to respect it in the main deck choices for hand traps, etc., and other card choices. So that is my number 5 pick. Next is Virtual World. So Adventurer Virtual World is pretty good. Obviously VFD is still legal, and that is crazy to me. That card is so busted. The deck doesn't gain consistency with the Adventurer cards though, that's my only concern, but the deck is super high power, super high ceiling, and if you resolve a VFD, most of the time you should be winning that game, especially in the best of 1 format. So for that reason, with it being not the most consistent deck, but really high ceiling, and I put it as number 4. It's been around since release as well, Master Duel, and I think people know how to play against it and prepare for it. So that is my number 4 pick. And then number 3, we're going to go for the Adventurer Tangy deck, or Adventurer Worm deck, however you want to call it. This deck is busted. It's actually insane. You get Denlong, you get Mecha Phantom Beast Lion. There's loads of insane plays you can do with this deck. Also play cards like Tomahawk as well, which spam out tokens. So you can link climb like crazy. Also plays Protoss, which is again another absurd card. I think this deck is really consistent and again very high ceiling. That's why I place it higher than Virtual Worlds at the moment. But again, people know how to play this deck. People have been playing against it in a TCG for a couple of months now, and OCG. So that is probably the biggest downfall, that people know how to beat it. But again, really high ceiling, and I can't see this deck not being represented enough to disregard. So definitely keep an eye out for this deck. Next, in my opinion, is the second best deck to play for this format with Illusion of Chaos. So this is Prank Kids, and you can play Prank Kids for loads of different cards. So I was playing the 60 card deck back in April or May 2022. That was with like 18 hand traps, adventurer cards, DPE, souls, Illusion of Chaos, and of course the Prank Kid engine. So I think this deck's really consistent. It can play hand traps. My only issue with this deck is in best of 1 it isn't great going second. However, with the abundance of hand traps it plays, I think you have to put it in a really good spot to be the most consistent, effective deck for a best of 1 ladder. Other than 1, sorry, which we'll go on to in a minute. But yeah, I think this deck's going to be really strong and represented. It's really high ceiling. It's really annoying to play, to be fair, with the chain blocking you can do on the kids. Again, with the abundance and hand traps you can play, and the adventure engine you can play in it, it just makes this deck one of the best decks to play. If you know how to play it, I would recommend you play this deck. So yeah, that's my number 2 choice. And then for number 1 is Pure Sword Soul Tangy. So I've been playing this deck a lot on Master Duel, and in my opinion it is the best deck for a best of 1 format on the ranked ladder, and it'll carry over into the Duelist Cup. My thoughts are it's good going second, it's really good going first, it can play hand traps, it can OTK out of nowhere, has a good grind game, and it plays Arch Nemesis Protoss. which this card is absolutely ignorant. It's so broken. With DPE in the format as well, just blind calling darks is super strong. The only way you lose or you get punished is if you play a mirror match. Again, in a mirror, it turns off the shooter, which is really strong. But it also it kind of sucks to call dark against Flunderies. That's the only sort of negative I see. However, in my opinion, you take that risk of playing Protoss because naturally your engine should beat the Flunderies matchup in regards to a Baron plus a Shishao, and if you can set a Blackout as well, plus one hand trap or Blackout or a hand trap, you should be winning that matchup. So that's my reasoning for Sword Soul. It has the best coverage, has the best matchups against the previous decks we've just discussed, and it's really consistent as well. So that's my reasoning for Sword Soul. I think it's going to be the #1 deck. Know how to play the mirror match. A little tip in the mirror: if you know you're playing the mirror match, again, it's quite hard to know for definite you're playing the mirror. You can actually go Protoss and set up a Cheng Ying and Cold Water. Cheng Ying protects itself, but then your opponent cannot special summon tokens. So that's a really broken technical bit of advice there for the mirror match. But again, you don't know you're playing a mirror match until the best of one kicks in. So yeah, there's loads of ways to play this deck. I think I'm going to showcase the deck profile on my Twitch tomorrow before I start playing the stage 1. So check me out on Twitch. Like I said, check out my link in the description. Also, some sort of decks to mention are going to be Dragon Link and Phantom Knight. I think these decks are really insane. However, with Protoss in the format, it's really risky to play these decks. Protoss is a dark, so naturally calling dark against these decks means your whole strategy is just turned off. So for that reason, the decks I've just showcased, Flunder, Virtual World, Venture Tengi, Prankids, and Sword Soul are the best decks to play for this tournament, given the current card pool that we have. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Are you excited for the Duelist Cup? Are you not going to be playing? Let me know in the comments how you're feeling, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.